All right, what's going on? It's your boy Millie. Another video. Does wholesaling still work in 2026? About to answer the question. So, if this is your first time here on my channel, my name is Millie. This is Hustling with Millie. I teach wholesaling real estate and talk about how I've wholesaled real estate and how I could possibly help you wholesale real estate. So, real quick, wholesaling real estate is not complicated. It's actually simple, but it's not entirely easy, right? So wholesaling real estate is just a simple process of you taking a situation with an individual who would be motivated to sell their house at a discount, right? So for many reasons, a person would be willing to sell their home for a discount. It could be a few reasons, as in tax delinquency, it's vacant, maybe because they just evicted somebody. They're a tired landlord. They've been a landlord for 20 years and they just want to get out and enjoy the rest of their life, or that one particular property was just a headache and they don't want to fix it up. They'll just sell it for cash. Um, a probate situation where a family member died, like grandma or something, and they inherited the house and they really don't know what to do with it. They never had goals to be a real estate investor, so they'll rather just cash out because they can't deal with the house anyway. Pay property taxes, fix it up if they need to. They'll just sell it at a discount. Two, they just need the money. Medical bills, liens, just don't got the money to fix up the house and keep up with the house, right? So those are a few reasons why a person would be motivated to sell their home at a discount. So you take that situation and you essentially become the middleman of it, right? So if and for a discount, for example, I say let's say the house all the way fixed up could possibly sell for $150,000, like all the way fixed up, right? So and that's all the way fixed up. So that would be our ARV, which would be uh, which stands for after repair value, and you get that under contract with the motivated seller for, let's just say, $40,000. It's possible. It's actually possible. I kid you not. So $40,000, and it needs let's say $60,000 in repairs, right? So you would then, you get it under contract with the seller for $40,000. You have a purchase and sales agreement with you and the seller for 40 that you're saying that you're gonna buy or assign the house for $40,000. You find an investor that plans on making money off that house, and make sure there's meat on the bone. That's why you got it so low. It has to be meat on the bone, right? Because in wholesaling, you you get low, sell medium, right? That's how it goes, right? Because you're the middleman. So you find an end buyer and you sell it to him for 15,000. No, not 15, 50. You sell it to him for 50,000, right? And that's called an assignment of contract because you assign that purchase and sell agreement contract that you have with the seller to the end buyer for $50,000. You assign that contract to him, right? So you take those two contracts and you take it to a title company that does assignments. Whenever you're looking for a title company, no matter what market you're in, call title companies and ask if they do assignments. Simple as that. They'll know what you're talking about if they do. Okay. So they'll run title search, make sure everything's clear, clean, no liens, nothing crazy, and they get it all situated. That way, their buyer won't have any problem selling a house in the future, right? And you get and make sure your buyer pays closing costs. But also, so when that happens and you close on that, you'll get the $10,000. So remember, you got under contract for 40, you assigned it to somebody else for $50,000. $10,000 difference. You get seller gets 40, You get 10, buyer gets the property. Simple as that. Don't overcomplicate this. All right. So that's wholesaling real estate in a nutshell. I have other videos on my channel. I'm not a big YouTuber, nothing like that, but I will post occasionally. I have my other things going on with family and life, you know. But YouTube is the last thing on my mind. But it does help you guys out to see a different face, talk about this, right? So, does it still work in 2026? Yes, it works. I know it took 5 minutes for me to give you that answer, but I had to explain what wholesaling real estate is for somebody who does not know what it is and just heard about wholesaling real estate. So, wholesaling real estate still works in 2026, right? And to be honest, it will always work. It will always work unless they ban wholesaling real estate forever. Like unless like every single state or it's a federal thing, just government just bans it. But it will always work because you are essentially just the pawn shop of real estate. Wholesaling, that's all it really is to me. It's just the pawn shop of real estate. Why do people go to a pawn shop and sell a PlayStation 5 for $100, knowing they can get $250 or $300 for their PlayStation 5, right? Because they need it fast. They need cash. They need a guaranteed cash offer because they're in a dire situation. Exactly the same thing with wholesaling real estate. Remember what I said. Tax delinquent, vacant, can't fix it up. They're getting lots of liens from the city, code violations. Grandma just died. They just inherited a house. They don't know what to do with it. And grandson wants a new Challenger, wants a new Charger, Hellcat, so he's gonna sell the house. It's as simple as that. They'll sell it for cash. They don't really know. Well, the probate situation, they want it quick, easy, and convenient. Wholesaling is just a convenience thing. That's all it is. It's just a convenience thing for real estate and in the real estate niche, right? So, and that's why it will always be it'll always be what's the word I'm looking for, relevant. Wholesaling will always be relevant because you're essentially just a pawn shop. When somebody wants to sell their house and they don't want to list it with an agent, because the real estate agent's going to make them fix it up. They're going to charge commissions and all that extra mess, sign a whole bunch of paperwork, and you know, that's just agents in a nutshell. Nothing against real estate agents. They do great when it comes to like beautiful homes, right? But if somebody's in a dire situation, it's probably personal, and they need to sell the house fast. They just got a letter in the mail. Hey, you owe this. It needs to be paid by this day. They don't got time to sit sit with an agent and let them list it on the market, right? They don't got time for that. So, and you come along, hey, I'll give you $40,000 or $50,000 cash right now, close in 2 weeks. Oh, exactly what I needed. And then there you go. You got you a deal. So it will always be relevant. Now the way going about getting deals will be different over time. That's just how things go and business goes. Things change. The same thing that worked in 2020 won't work in 2026. But wholesaling will always work. You just got to figure out how to make it work at that said time. And it's as simple as that. Don't overcomplicate it. Like, seriously, don't overcomplicate it. There's a lot of free information on YouTube. If you want to speed up the process, get a mentor. Don't get hit on the head for a price, but get a mentor. It's it'll work. I promise you. Pick a good market. Make sure you get some good data, and talk to people, talk to motivated sellers. Just keep in mind, you are somebody's solution to a problem that they have, and it's as simple as that. I've done it. I've done it countless times. I'm not some guru millionaire, but wholesaling has done amazing things for my life. It has, and it's as simple as that. Whenever it kind of warps your mind a bit because once you do a few wholesaling deals, I kid you not. You'll have the mindset like, okay, there's nothing I can't buy. Or you will be okay no matter what your situation because you know you're just one deal away. You're one deal away. That new, brand new car you want, one deal away. Say that car is, $30,000. You can get one wholesaling deal and go cash on the car if you want. Now that's a want, not a need, but that's a mindset it gives you, right? You just know you just need one deal. Now you want to get more than one deal, or maybe you just want a few deals a year, which is very possible to do. Part time wholesaling, you can easily make 70, $100,000 a year part time, barely doing it. If you got some type of consistent routine, you're calling, you're texting, you're whatever your marketing is, you just do it consistent enough part time, you can get a few deals across a closing table a year. Hell, I'll help you with that. No big deal, But it's as simple as that. Does wholesaling work? Yes, it works. It will always work because why? People get in sticky situations all the time and they need a solution, and you could be that solution. It's as simple as that. You are the pawn shop of real estate. Hell, I don't know. Google, when did pawn shops become a thing? When did pawn shops become a thing? Whenever that happened, whenever the first pawn shop opened, look it up. And they're still relevant today. You're essentially the pawn shop of real estate. That's all wholesaling is. Two pieces of paper, motivated seller, and a cash buyer. That's essentially all you need. And obviously know how to do it, know how to talk to people, not and you want to be there for the seller and actually want to help them. Don't just think about money. You actually, make sure you actually want to help the seller and make sure the buyer has some meat on the bone to make some money, right? It's as simple as that. Don't overcomplicate it. Subscribe to the channel if you want more information. Hell, if I get some more feedback, I might post more. Um, yeah, Instagram, hustling with Millie. DM me if you got a question or you want to work with me. Whatever, I'm there. Mind you, I'm not a big social media guy. I'm not, but hell, it's worth a shot. Reach out to me. I'm real personable, easy to talk to. So. Does social work in 2026? I think so. Until I see you again next time on the channel.